Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Hub Conference Blue Stage. I'm really honored to address this audience as a development politician. But I'm sure that you have not to be convinced that digitalization has something to do with development. So I'm glad to see that we have many key decision makers behind the digital revolution attending this conference, and I'm honored to be kicking off the first of this day's events. And of course, I'm delighted that many of you are joining forces with those of us engaged in development policy. For many developing countries, the digital revolution offers a path to more perspectives, a better future. It's a driver of social and economic development, of growth and of sustainable progress. The digital revolution is radically transforming many industries and policy fields, not only here, but in developing countries too. Development policymakers would be seriously out of step with the times if they failed to make use of this, the strongest of all possible levers for change. The digital revolution is not restricted to Germany, to Europe or the US. Internet and mobile phone access is also having an enormous impact on life in developing countries and emerging economies. The number of people using the internet continues to rise across the world. Over the last 10 years, it has grown from 1 billion to around 3.5 billion. And the African market is currently the fastest growing in the world. Africa will have 600 million internet users by 2025. And to my impression, the generation of CEOs and board members in many companies has still to come to develop African markets. More and more people own mobile phones. In Africa, more people have mobile phones, cell phones, than access to toilets or drinking water. And more people are able to use online services on the move. In East Africa, for example, mobile payment systems are very popular and more are springing up. In fact, the M-Pesa system was developed exclusively in Africa, not in Silicon Valley, in Silicon Savannah. It has enabled people there to leapfrog at development stage. Instead of individuals opening physical bank accounts, they've gone straight to using digital payment methods. Almost 300 million people in 89 countries are now using one of the 250 available mobile payment systems. Mobile phones and internet connectivity are also changing how people access knowledge, like information on health issues, new education opportunities, or weather forecasts for farmers. And yet, 4 billion people across the world are still offline, the vast majority of them in developing countries. These countries continue to face major obstacles to digitalization: a lack of infrastructure, particularly in rural areas, a lack of knowledge on applying technologies, the high cost of internet usage paired with low incomes and greater difficulties for women and girls in accessing the internet. If we want everyone to benefit from the digital revolution, then it has to be sustainable and inclusive. And today, we have the chance to chart that course. Last year, the international community adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And for the first time, they include goals on information and communication technologies and affordable internet access. Because all the nations of the world agreed that digitalization can help to fight poverty, hunger and malnutrition, to mitigate climate change and to protect the environment. And digitalization does it more quickly, more efficiently, more transparently, and by far cheaper. Information and communication technologies are the key to enabling developing countries to leapfrog entire stages of development. The World Bank has calculated that the internet could contribute some $300 billion to Africa's GDP by 2025. Today that figure is just $18 billion, so we can come from 18 to 300 billion in only 10 years. I'd like to tell you about how we at the Development Ministry are working with our partners in the developing countries to seize the opportunities offered by the digital revolution. We are working in 75 countries across the world on closing the digital gap. We have 280 projects in which we are tapping into the potential of digital technology. 280. In Tunisia, for example, we have helped to train 8,000 young software developers. We are providing teaching materials for Syrian refugees, and we are developing apps for nurses to help them combat pandemics. Yet we do not want to address the digitalization issue on our own. We want to do it with you. We need you as partners in development cooperation, because development cooperation is not just the business of development workers and development organizations. Development cooperation can only truly be effective when technical expertise is matched with practical needs, when we think about economic interests and when both sides feel a strong sense of ownership. That's why last year we joined with some major German companies like SAP, Siemens and Giesecke and Devrient to found the strategic partnership Digital Africa. Because the solutions already exist. By working with the private sector, we can overcome the obstacles and harness Africa's digital potential. Startups and innovation hubs are a particularly rich source of fresh ideas. Often they are able to find the right solutions that create jobs, that fight hunger and make the world's cities more livable. That's something we want to support, and that's why today we are launching the Make IT Alliance to support entrepreneurs and startups in developing countries. Startups are already behind many of the economic, technical and social innovations taking place in the world. They develop solutions that are tailored to the local situation, and they explore new market niches. Technological developments like big data, 3D printers, the Internet of Things and drones have long since also reached developing countries and emerging economies. Nairobi's many innovation hubs have helped Kenya become Africa's digital hub. The startup business, African-born 3D printer, for example, produces 3D printers from recycled materials so as to print replacement parts wherever they are needed. And just a few weeks ago, Rwanda opened the world's first drone port to deliver blood supplies to remote areas. A very promising example implemented with our support. Often, digital technology development is faster and bolder in developing countries than it is here. At this year's CeBIT, a trade fair in Hanover, we had a joint stand with 15 startups from Africa and Asia. There, the companies had the opportunity to present their homegrown technological innovations and link up with German companies. In this way, we are helping to spread innovative solutions to other parts of the world. For example, to the world's cities. The move towards the cities is one of the greatest revolutions in human history. At the beginning of the 20th century, only some 10% of the world's population lived in cities. Today, that figure is 55%. And by 2050, over 3/4 could be living in cities. So tomorrow's world will be an urban world. And here again, startups and new kinds of businesses are offering innovative solutions. For the past 6 years, GPS technologies and small cameras have been used to map the slums of Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Everyone is able to take part in the Map Kibera project. The information on infrastructure is proving particularly useful. These slum areas had previously been uncharted territory. Now, information is available on the location of sanitary facilities and water or recycling points. The project has also made it possible to more accurately count the number of inhabitants. That not only makes it easier for the inhabitants themselves to access information, it also makes it easier for local authorities to plan, and so they are better able to deliver services to the poor. So we can see that Nairobi is not marginalizing the poor, it is putting them on the map. The Kenyan capital is therefore well on the way to becoming an inclusive, smart city. We need more solutions like that, and we need them right across the board. Startups and entrepreneurs are already helping those engaged in the old economy to understand trends and harness them. With the Tech-Entrepreneurship initiative Make IT, we are supporting startups and bringing them into contact with major digital companies. In 2017, we will be launching a new €4 million program called Make IT in Africa. It will provide support to digital entrepreneurs in Africa. Throughout all stages of their development, we will be helping them to access training, mentors, funding, and contacts. Our aim is to allow innovators to concentrate on their products and make themselves attractive to investors. We are looking for strong partners from the digital economy who recognize the opportunities available in developing countries and emerging economies. In the BMZ launch, we will be signing a declaration of intent later on with the founding partners of the program. We are pleased to already have on board with us SAP, DHL, IBM Deutschland, Orange, Autodesk, the Association of German Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Bitkom, the German African Business Association, Ashoka, Better Place, and the Impact Hub Global Network. We would be glad to welcome on board any other new partners. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to come along with us as we explore new avenues. Get involved in the networks for new markets, new partnerships, and new solutions, and for more sustainable development worldwide. Thank you very much for your kind attention.